Gregg Popovich made a pretty rare appearance with the media on the latest edition of the Coach's Corner, brought to you by the guys of the Dunker Spot. It is Nekias Duncan and Steve Jones Jr. They really know basketball. They're incredibly smart with X's and O's, and they were able to convince Coach Pop to join them to talk about the importance of spacing, misdirection, gravity from a sideline out of bounds sequence against the Mavericks last season. We'll talk about why that's important in just a minute, but for now, please enjoy this clip of Pop breaking down this play alongside Nekias Duncan and Steve Jones Jr.
That's why we begin with an open corner and fill it later. So theoretically, he would come off and continue down to that corner. So he's out of the play. We want to get him away from the rim because we're trying to do this. And then the least likely guy in that situation, as you can see, he's just sort of standing there doing nothing. And the defense will relax to some degree, and then he becomes the operative in the play.
Before we roll the tape, I want you to take a look at the pre-play formation from the Spurs. Keldon Johnson, Tre Jones, and Victor Wembanyama are lined up along the charity stripe. You have Devin Vassell stationed in the far corner, and that leaves Jeremy Sochan as the inbounder. Now, the first thing that the Spurs are going to do as we unpause here is have Tre scramble off of the free throw line into the backcourt, and we'll pause. Dennis Smith Jr. was previously guarding Keldon Johnson, but he peels off of him to chase Tre into the backcourt and stop him from receiving any sort of inbound pass there. And the reason that's important for the Spurs is because they have now created more spacing and essentially put a scenario together here where they're playing 4-on-4 basketball out of a sideline out of bounds. So the next thing that's going to happen, as you can probably tell from this still, is Devin Vassell is going to come around these staggered screens from Victor Wembanyama and Keldon Johnson. We'll go ahead and hit play and watch that play out and pause again. So as Devin Vassell is now curling those screens to get to the opposite corner, Keldon Johnson has turned around and now set a screen for the screener, who was Victor Wembanyama. That's going to create additional confusion. And one of the reasons that's important is because this is going back to the concepts that Popovich was talking about in the first clip, where misdirection, spacing, and gravity all come into play when you're drawing up a set out of the sidelines out of bounds, a baseline out of bounds, even in some half-court sets. But those are all important principles that make up good sets. So we'll go ahead and resume it again once Devin Vassell catches the ball and pause it. So you now have Devin Vassell, who is covered by Mikal Bridges and Nick Claxton, who you can see is sort of closing into the corner to trap Devin Vassell. Dorian Finney-Smith, under no circumstance, can leave Victor Wembanyama, a guy who is shooting nearly 40% from three since the All-Star break, wide open. If he makes a three, they're now down 4. The game is essentially over. So now, when you see Sochan cutting to the basket, and there you go, he catches the ball, Schroeder was forced to rotate over and peel off of Keldon Johnson to stop an easy layup. But take a look at this picture here. Because there was a trap in the corner, because there was a rotation over to Sochan, because Finney-Smith had to stick to Wembanyama, and because Dennis Smith Jr. was chasing Tre into the backcourt, this now has a wide open lane for Keldon Johnson. I'll unpause it. There's no one there to stop him. Gets an easy layup. And again, just a really awesome illustration of the concepts that Popovich was talking about with Nekias Duncan and Steve Jones Jr. on their series, The Coach's Corner. I thought this was really awesome. If you enjoy this kind of content, please check out the Vic-and-Roll. Please check out my YouTube channel. But until next time, Spurs fans, take care.